What if I told you there's a country made up of thousands of islands, where you can swim with killer whales in tropical waters, ride a motorcycle crammed with a dozen people, and eat a gourmet meal made entirely from chicken bones? Welcome to the Philippines, a place of jaw-dropping beauty and shocking contrasts. It's a nation where the warmest smiles can be found just steps away from some of the world's toughest living conditions, where beaches rival the Maldives, but some towns are slowly sinking into the sea. Today we're counting down 18 shocking facts you'll never believe about the Philippines, from mind-bending history and wild traditions to mysteries even the locals can't fully explain. Some of these will inspire you, some will leave you speechless, and at least one will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about this country. Let's dive in, starting with fact number 18. Number 18, Nation of Islands and Languages. The Philippines isn't just one place, it's over 7,000 different places scattered across the Pacific Ocean. This vast archipelago is split into three main regions: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, each with its own landscapes, traditions, and way of life. Traveling between them can feel like crossing into entirely different countries. But here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. The Philippines is home to over 170 languages and dialects. That's right. Even Filipinos themselves sometimes can't understand each other. A visitor could land in Manila speaking basic Tagalog, only to travel a few islands over and find the locals speaking Cebuano, Ilocano, or something completely different. This incredible diversity is rooted in a layered history. The islands were ruled by Spain for more than 3 centuries, leaving behind Catholic traditions, Spanish surnames, and European-style architecture. Later, American influence shaped everything from education to politics. And long before both of those, trade routes from China, Malaysia, and other parts of Southeast Asia left their mark. What you see today is a nation that feels like a living collage, a place where East meets West, old meets new, and every island has its own story to tell. But this cultural richness is just the beginning, because the next fact will take us far from the tourist beaches, straight into a world of survival, grit, and a dish you have to see to believe. Number 17. Survival dish from chicken bones. In the shadow of Manila's glittering skyscrapers, there's another world, one that most tourists never see. Here, in some of the city's most crowded slums, survival is a daily battle. Families live in cramped homes, often with no clean water, and every meal is a question mark. But in the middle of this struggle, something remarkable happens. Locals have taken what most of us would throw away, discarded chicken bones, and transformed them into a hearty, flavorful stew. It's simmered with soy sauce, vinegar, garlic, and a mix of spices, turning scraps into a meal that can feed an entire family. It's not just food, it's a symbol of resilience, proof that even in the harshest conditions, creativity can turn nothing into something. In these communities, cooking is more than survival. It's an act of pride and love. Every bite carries the unspoken message. We make the most of what we have. It's a dish that shocks outsiders, not just because of what it's made from, but because of what it represents. A deep-rooted determination to find joy and dignity, even when life offers little. And as we move to the next fact, you'll see that this same spirit of strength shows up in another surprising way, in the women who are quietly shaping the future of the nation. Number 16. Women who lead the nation. Here, women don't just play supporting roles, they're leading from the front. The country consistently ranks among the highest in the world for the percentage of women in senior management positions. Walk into a Filipino company, and it's not unusual to see women running entire departments, steering major projects, or even sitting at the head of the boardroom table. What makes this even more fascinating is how it blends with the country's deep-rooted traditions. Many Filipino women still value family above all else, carrying the role of mother, caretaker, and cultural anchor. Yet at the same time, they're breaking glass ceilings, managing businesses, and taking charge in spaces where women in other parts of the world are still fighting to be heard. This duality, the ability to embrace tradition while thriving in modern roles, is part of what makes Filipino women so remarkable. They embody strength without losing grace, independence without losing a sense of community. It's a balance that's hard to find anywhere else. And as we head to the next fact, you'll see that the same mix of tradition and originality even shows up in how Filipinos get around, in some of the most unique rides you'll ever see. Number 15. Jeepneys and Habal-Habal. If you ever set foot in the Philippines, you'll quickly realize transportation here is more than just a way to get from point A to point B. It's a full-on cultural experience. Take the jeepney, for example. These brightly painted, chrome-covered minibuses are often called rolling museums. And for good reason. Born from leftover U.S. military jeeps after World War II, they've been transformed into colorful works of art, each one hand-decorated with religious symbols, pop culture icons, and bold patterns. For just a few pesos, you can hop on, squeeze in beside strangers, and experience the lively, noisy heart of Filipino street life. Then there's the Habal-Habal, a modified motorcycle that somehow carries up to 12 people. Yes, 12. It's part ingenuity, part daredevil stunt, and 100% unforgettable. Clinging to the side of a packed Habal-Habal as it winds up a steep, rural road is not just a ride, it's a story you'll be telling for the rest of your life. These rides may not have seatbelts or air conditioning, but they have something you won't find in a taxi. Personality, history, and the kind of shared adventure that turns total strangers into instant friends. But while these rides are cheap, the next fact will show you that owning your own car in the Philippines can be as expensive as buying a mansion. Number 14. Cars cost like mansions. If you think buying a new car in the US is expensive, try doing it in the Philippines. Thanks to hefty import taxes and value-added tax, the price of a brand new vehicle can be up to 50% higher than in America. A car that sells for $30,000 in the States might set you back closer to $45,000 here. And that's before insurance, registration, and the extra fees that seem to pop up out of nowhere. This creates a street scene unlike anywhere else. In the same traffic jam, you might see a gleaming BMW X5 right next to a rusted-out Jeep from the 1980s. Still somehow running after decades on the road. Luxury and grit share the same lanes, moving side by side through chaotic city streets. It's a living snapshot of the country's extremes, wealth and struggle, side by side, both equally stuck in Manila's legendary traffic. But as strange as this contrast might seem, it's nothing compared to the next fact, where the country's most prized possession isn't a car or a house, but something that lives and breathes. Number 13. Beaches that beat the brochures. The Philippines doesn't just have beautiful beaches. It has beaches that make even the most airbrushed travel brochures look dull. From the powder-white sands of Boracay to the towering limestone cliffs of El Nido and the surfer's paradise of Siargao, these spots look like they were pulled straight from a dream. The water isn't just blue, it's the kind of crystal-clear turquoise that makes you question if your eyes are even seeing reality. But there's more to the story than Instagram perfection. Some of these world-famous destinations have actually been shut down by the government, not for renovations, but to recover from severe pollution and the overwhelming effects of mass tourism. Boracay, for example, was closed for 6 months in 2018 so the island could heal. And beyond the famous names are hidden gems, untouched coves, pink sand beaches, and coral reefs known only to locals and the most adventurous travelers. They may not have luxury resorts or cocktail bars, but they offer something far more valuable, the feeling that you found a corner of the world almost no one else has touched. But paradise isn't always peaceful, and in the next fact, you'll discover how something as innocent as a bird can spark high-stakes rivalries and fortunes worth more than gold. Number 12. Orcas in tropical waters. When you picture killer whales, your mind probably jumps to icy Arctic seas or the wild coasts of Norway. But in the Philippines, these black and white giants show up somewhere completely unexpected, the warm, tropical waters of the Pacific. Few places on Earth offer the chance to see orcas gliding past palm-lined islands, their dorsal fins cutting through turquoise waves under the blazing sun. And that's just the beginning of the country's incredible wildlife story. The Philippines is home to dozens of species found nowhere else on the planet. Among them is the tarsier, a tiny, wide-eyed primate about the size of your hand, with a gaze so intense it feels like it's looking straight into your soul. In fact, many of the nation's forests hide creatures so rare that even locals may never have seen them in the wild. This tropical biodiversity is both breathtaking and fragile. It's a reminder that the Philippines isn't just about beaches and culture. It's also one of the most important wildlife sanctuaries in the world. But while nature thrives in some parts of the country, the next fact will take you deep into a world where competition is fierce, fortunes are made, and feathers are worth more than gold. Number 11. Davao, the safest city with strict rules. In a country known for its chaotic energy, Davao City stands out for one thing: safety. It's often ranked as one of the safest cities in the Philippines, with a crime rate far lower than most major urban centers. You can walk its streets late at night without the constant worry that comes with big city life. But that peace of mind comes with rules, and lots of them. Smoking in public, completely banned. Littering? You'll pay for it, literally. Even karaoke has curfews. These regulations are strictly enforced, and residents know the penalties aren't just empty threats. Some people love it. They say the structure and discipline make life calmer, cleaner, and more predictable. Others argue it's a bit too much control for their taste, making the city feel less free compared to the rest of the country. Whether you see it as a model of order or a city of over-regulation, one thing's certain: Davao runs on its own set of rules, and it works. And speaking of things that work in ways you'd never expect, the next fact will take us to a tradition where roosters become celebrities. Fortunes are won and lost, and the stakes are higher than you'd imagine. Number 10. An airport named after an assassination. Most airports are named after national heroes, but in the Philippines, the country's busiest gateway carries the memory of a political tragedy. Ninoy Aquino International Airport is named after Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., a prominent opposition leader who was assassinated on the tarmac in 1983 as he returned from exile. His death shocked the nation, fueling public outrage that ultimately led to the People Power Revolution, a peaceful uprising that changed the course of Philippine history. Today, millions of travelers pass through the same airport every year, many unaware of the event that gave it its name. Inside, it's a mix of bustling departure halls, chaotic lines, and the occasional whiff of adventure as people head off to the country's thousands of islands. For Filipinos, it's both a point of pride and a reminder of a turbulent chapter in their past. It's a place where history, politics, and modern travel collide, proof that even the act of landing in the Philippines comes with a story. And while this event shook the nation, the next fact will take us to something far older. A mystery hidden deep in the jungle that dates back thousands of years before the first planes ever took to the skies. Number 9. Karaoke culture runs the country. Karaoke isn't just a weekend activity here. It's a national obsession. From the neon-lit bars of Manila to tiny fishing villages on remote islands, you'll find microphones in hand and voices belting out everything from 80s power ballads to the latest pop hits. Parties, family gatherings, even neighborhood events often revolve around the karaoke machine, sometimes called the videoke, complete with lyrics on screen and background videos that make zero sense. And it's not just about singing in groups. The country even has anti-social karaoke booths, where you can rent a private room just big enough for one person. Perfect for those who want to belt out their favorite song without an audience, or avoid the awkward moment when your friends realize you've been singing off-key for hours. Karaoke here is pure joy, a way for strangers to bond instantly and for friends to turn any night into a celebration. In the Philippines, you don't need a good voice, just a good song and the courage to grab the mic. But while karaoke brings people together, the next fact takes us to a tradition that can divide opinions, stir controversy, and involve more money than you'd ever expect. Number 8. Festivals that stop time. When festival season arrives, everything else can wait. Streets close, businesses pause, and entire cities transform into a living, breathing party. Take Sinulog in Cebu, a dazzling mix of religious devotion and all-out street celebration. Dancers in bright costumes move to the beat of drums honoring the Santo Niño, while crowds pour in from across the country to join the spectacle. Then there's the Moon Festival, a tradition with Chinese roots that blends seamlessly into Filipino culture. Families gather to share mooncakes, lanterns light up the night, and communities celebrate under a sky glowing with full moon magic. These festivals are more than just events. They're moments when time seems to stop, and everyone, from toddlers to grandparents, is swept up in the rhythm, colors, and joy. If you've never been to one, imagine Mardi Gras, a religious procession, and a giant block party all happening at the same time. That's a Filipino festival. And while festivals are all about unity and celebration, the next fact will take us into a world where fierce competition, intense training, and razor-sharp reflexes rule the day. Number 7. Eating with your hands. Kamayan. A Filipino feast isn't just about the food, it's about how you eat it. Kamayan is a traditional style of dining where the table becomes the plate, and hands are the only utensils you need. A long spread of banana leaves is laid out, piled high with steaming rice, adobo, crispy lechon, tangy sinigang, grilled seafood, and tropical fruits. There's no cutlery here. You scoop, mix, and savor each bite with your hands, combining flavors right on your fingertips. It's not just practical, it's deeply cultural. Kamayan means by hand in Tagalog, and it turns eating into a shared, almost ceremonial experience. Friends and family gather around the banana leaf table, passing food, swapping stories, and laughing between mouthfuls. It's messy, it's joyful, and it's the kind of meal where you leave not just full, but connected to the people around you and to centuries of tradition. And while Kamayan is about bringing people together, our next fact dives into something that's far less communal and far more competitive. Number 6. An affordable paradise with traps. For many foreigners, the Philippines feels like a dream come true. You can rent a beachfront apartment for the cost of a modest studio in the US, eat fresh seafood for a few dollars, and hire household help without breaking the bank. With low daily expenses, it's no wonder retirees, digital nomads, and adventure seekers are drawn to the country's sunny shores. But here's the catch: the hidden costs. Imported goods can be shockingly expensive, from electronics to cheese. Utilities, especially electricity, can run high if you love air conditioning. And while healthcare is affordable for routine visits, more advanced treatments often require flying to larger cities or even abroad. Then there's the foreigner price phenomenon, where certain services or rentals quietly cost more for non-locals. It's not universal, but it happens often enough to surprise newcomers. So yes, the Philippines can be an affordable paradise. Just make sure your budget includes the unexpected. And speaking of the unexpected, our next fact takes us into a bizarre food tradition that's as shocking as it is famous. Number 5. Vigan, a city frozen in time. Walking through Vigan feels like stepping into a living postcard from the 16th century. Cobblestone streets echo with the slow clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages, while Spanish colonial houses, with their wooden shutters, red-tiled roofs, and Capiz shell windows, line the narrow lanes. This UNESCO World Heritage Site in northern Luzon is one of the best-preserved Spanish colonial towns in Asia. By day, tourists wander past antique shops and artisan stalls. By night, the soft glow of street lamps casts shadows on walls that have stood for over 400 years. What's remarkable is that Vigan isn't just a museum city. People still live and work here. Locals go about their daily routines, from tending shops to cooking Ilocano delicacies, keeping the heart of the city alive while preserving its old-world charm. It's a rare blend of history and living culture, and once you see it, you'll understand why it's often called a city frozen in time. And while Vigan offers serenity and tradition, the next fact takes us straight into the heart of adrenaline-fueled Filipino entertainment. Number 4. The world's largest indoor arena is in the Philippines. You might expect the biggest indoor arena on Earth to be in the US, China, or maybe Japan, but it's actually in the Philippines. Sitting in Bulacan, just north of Manila, the Philippine Arena is a jaw-dropping megastructure that can seat over 50,000 people under one roof. That's not just big, it's Guinness World Record big. Opened in 2014, this architectural giant isn't just for sports. It's hosted everything from international concerts and massive church gatherings to basketball championships and even global beauty pageants. The scale is so huge that walking from one end to the other can feel like a workout in itself. What's even more impressive, the arena was designed to withstand earthquakes and typhoons. No small feat in a country regularly hit by both. So the next time someone assumes the Philippines is just about tropical beaches, remind them it's also home to one of the most ambitious indoor arenas ever built. And speaking of unexpected records, our next fact is about a natural wonder that's as eerie as it is beautiful. Number 3. A texting capital with 1 billion messages a day. Before smartphones and social media took over, the Philippines had already mastered digital connection through text messaging. At its peak, Filipinos were sending over 1 billion SMS messages every single day, earning the country the title of texting capital of the world. This texting culture exploded in the late 90s and early 2000s when affordable Nokia phones and prepaid SIM cards made it possible for nearly everyone to stay in touch. For just a few pesos, you could send dozens of messages, and Filipinos embraced it with a passion. It wasn't just communication, it was a social lifeline. Even today, despite the rise of Facebook Messenger and other apps, texting remains deeply embedded in Filipino culture. From last-minute meetups to heartfelt greetings, messages fly across the country at all hours, a testament to how a simple technology shaped an entire nation's way of connecting. And while texting brought people closer, our next fact takes us to a place where nature itself hides something truly jaw-dropping. Number 2. The most generous people you'll ever meet. Kindness isn't just a nice gesture here, it's a way of life. At the heart of this is Bayanihan, a centuries-old tradition of community spirit where people come together to help one another without expecting anything in return. It's not unusual for strangers to stop what they're doing to give directions, carry heavy bags, or even share a home-cooked meal with someone they've just met. In rural areas, you might still witness the original form of Bayanihan, entire neighborhoods working together to literally lift and move a family's house to a new location. This generosity extends far beyond physical help. Whether it's offering a seat on a crowded bus, giving a ride to someone stranded in the rain, or lending money in tough times, Filipinos take pride in looking out for one another. It's a cultural warmth that catches many visitors off guard, and often leaves them with stories they'll tell for a lifetime. And that warmth makes the final fact on our list even more surprising, because it's about a side of the Philippines you'd never expect. Number 1. The Philippines is sinking. Literally. It sounds like a doomsday headline, but in parts of the Philippines it's happening right now. In some areas, including parts of the capital, Manila, the ground is sinking at a rate of 4 to 6 centimeters per year. The culprits? A dangerous mix of rising sea levels from climate change and decades of over-extracting groundwater. This means that neighborhoods which are dry today could be underwater within a few decades. Coastal communities are already feeling the effects: higher tides, saltwater intrusion, and increased flooding during storms. And while engineers and environmental groups are pushing for solutions, the clock is ticking. It's a sobering reminder that paradise is fragile, and even the most beautiful places on Earth aren't immune to the planet's changing climate. But if history has shown anything, it's that Filipinos are resilient, and their mix of creativity, community spirit, and determination might just be the key to keeping their islands afloat. At the end of the day, it's not just the islands, the beaches, or even the food, as unforgettable as they are. It's the people. The smiles from strangers, the helping hands when you least expect it, and the warmth that follows you long after you've left. The Philippines is a country that can take your breath away with its beauty, but it's the kindness of its people that will stay with you forever. So now we want to hear from you. If you could spend 1 week anywhere in the Philippines, would you choose a hidden tropical island, a bustling city full of life, or a small village where everyone knows your name?